Hello, this is Group 18. Our project is based on Raspberry Pi weather station. I'm Tanya Qadir.
I'm Anushila.
I'm Elena Kim.
Powerpuff Girls.
So we will be talking about the Raspberry Pi background and also the Raspberry Pi 2 Model B specifications, the Sense Hat that we're using and the features of that Sense Hat. Then we will be moving on to talking about what are some of the stuff we use to set up the Raspberry Pi, and then talk about demonstration. There will be a demonstration video about setting up the Raspberry Pi.
So let's go a bit into the background of the Raspberry Pi itself. So the first generation of Raspberry Pi was first developed in February of 2012, and the first model that came out was Raspberry Pi 1 Model B. There were several other versions that came out after that, like Model A, Raspberry Pi 1 Model B Plus, 0, 2, 3 Model B, 0W. So Raspberry Pi are priced anywhere between $5 to $50. We got ours for $52, and we had additional shipping cost as well. The main programming languages which are used for Raspberry Pi are Python and Scratch. We focused a bit more on the Python for this particular project that we did, and for our project we will be using Raspberry Pi 2 Model B. Just to go a bit further into the specifications of 2 Model B, it has a quad core. It uses the ARM architecture. It has a memory of about 1 GB RAM and 4 USB ports. It uses full HDMI port and Ethernet port. It also has a combined audio jack and composite video. It has a micro SD card, and it's also compatible fully with Raspberry Pi 1. For our particular project, we used a micro SD card of 16 gigabytes. One problem that we came across was connecting to the Wi-Fi using Raspberry Pi. An alternative to that could be using a Wi-Fi USB adapter.
The background of Sense Hat, this one has a add-on board for Raspberry Pi. It was made for the Astro Pi missions, and in December 2015, it contains 8 to 8 inches RGB LED matrix, 5-button joysticks. Also, it includes the sensors such as gyroscope,
accelerometer,
Magnetometer,
temperature,
barometric pressure,
humidity.
Sense Hat features include sensors that can sense temperature, like sensing the weather, humidity, pressure, and movement. So sensing the weather, temperature, it can measure temperatures as low as minus 40 degrees Celsius up to plus 120 degrees Celsius. So they are much more versatile than any clinical thermometer. And the Sense Hat has 2 sensing temperatures or sensors. One is built into the humidity sensor, and the other is built into the pressure sensor. So this is just one of the sensors. It also has a sensor for humidity, where the humidity sensor senses the temperature. It also has a temperature sensor built to it, and it will tell you the humidity in the room. Other sensor is for pressure, where it measures the amount of water in the air. There is another sensor for movement that can also measure the kind of movement it's experiencing in the environment it is in. So it actually has other 3 sensors for sensing the movement, which Elena already mentioned. The gyroscope, that one measures the momentum and rotation, while the accelerometer is measuring the acceleration forces and can also be used to find the direction of gravity. The magnetometer is another sensor, which also measures the Earth's own magnetic field, so it's a bit like a compass.
So let's go a bit into the setup. So Elena will now be showing us the Raspberry Pi setup as well as the Sense Head, and she'll explain a bit more into the operating system as well.
I'll show you how to set up Raspberry Pi with Sense Head for setting up the weather station. So first, you'll need the Sense Head. You'll need a Raspberry Pi. We're using Raspberry Pi 2 Model B. We'll need a micro SD card. We're using 16 gigabytes. HDMI cables. You'll need a monitor to display, keyboard, mouse, micro USB cable, and Ethernet port cables for internet. I'll be using TP-Link to connect the wireless internet. The operating system we'll be using is Noob. It's the easy operating system that contains Raspbian. You can download in Raspberry Pi websites. So to install Noob in operating system, we need a micro SD card which is bigger than 8 gigabytes at least, and we're using 16 gigabytes. Before installing the Noob operating system, you need to format the SD card. You can go to their website to get more information about it. Also, you can buy pre-installed Noob operating system in the SD card, but we didn't buy one, so we'll format the SD card and put the Noob operating system after. So to format the SD card, you need SD formatter tool to format the SD card. We'll need to format to FAT32. So when you click this link, it'll go to this website, and we'll go back to see what kind of. So this one works for Windows 8, 7, XP, Mac OS. Our school computer is Windows 10, but that still works as well. Sorry, that was Windows 8. And for me, I want to use my Mac, so I click for the Mac, and then this goes to argument, and you click accept, and it'll download the tool. And when that's downloaded, you can install in your computer, and this is when it's done installing. So what you need to do is just select cards, your SD card. It'll show up when you plugged in, and then you select format option to overwrite format, or you can do quick format as well, but I use overwrite format. And then you'll have a button here saying start. Then you can start the formatting. After that, you can put the Noob operating system files, extraction of a Noob operating system into the SD card. If you put the Raspberry Pi, it'll bring this page to click which operating system you wish to install. So for us, it will show Noob, and you just need to select the language, and then the installing the Noob will be same as other Linux operating systems. So let's start the systems. I'm going to plug this USB to my computer for power source. When you plugged in, it'll light up in sunset in rainbow color. So right now I already installed Noob operating system here, so it will just put the Noob operating system right away. So now system has booted. You can go. So right now I have connected the Wi-Fi using TP-Link device. So I have a Wi-Fi connection. If you use Ethernet cable, you'll have a other symbol to connect to the Ethernet cables. So now the noob is ready to use.
Now Elena will be showing the demonstration about setting up the weather station using Raspberry Pi and sensors or SenseHat.
Now I will show you how the weather station works. So I'm using TP-Link to connect the Wi-Fi. I have insert the micro SD card and everything's plugged in. So this is the code that I'll be running. So this commands are connecting to the database, connecting to SenseHead. This one will get temperature, humidity, pressures, and this will add it to the MySQL database. And this is writing to the weatherinfo.txt, and we'll upload it to OnCloud in the folder called Security Analyst, and then it will print in the SenseHead the informations. So now let's try to run the program. It's too bright, but it's saying temperature is 26 degree, humidity is 39%, pressure is 986 mbars. And this one print out what I just said. Now let's check in our SQL database that have been added correctly. Now we can see this one was added correctly as I said it. And let's go into our own cloud to check it that it successfully upload the file or not. So here's a file that I created, putting all the informations. This is loading. And now we can see that it haven't added the information that we got from Sunset. So I wanted to test out how it works at outside. So I have put the Raspberry Pi in front porch of my house. Right now it's raining outside and it's 9 degree right now. Now let's run the program. So this is displaying temperature is 9 degree, humidity is 72%, pressure is 987 MBars. I use PuTTY to SSH into Raspberry Pi to use for outside, and the result I got was 9 degree, which was matched with the current temperature.
So that will be it from us.
Thank you for watching us.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
Bye.
Bye.